Today I'm going to be doing something pretty stupid and taking a look at Windows Vista. Yes, you heard me right. I am going to be taking a look at Windows Vista and seeing what it was actually like. You see, I have a plan for a project for a future video, and that requires a kind of Windows Vista era computer, more specifically a computer from around 2009, 2010, which is kind of the end of Windows Vista. Reason being, I want a computer that's very similar to what I had at the time. Actually, my first ever desktop computer was a Dell Inspiron that I bought, and it came with Windows Vista at the beginning of 2009, and I bought that for Android development, for starting to learn that. Previously, I just had laptops, so this was my first like real work computer. And I thought, well, I could pick one of those up on eBay, actually, you can still find them, but why limit myself to that hardware? That hardware was very limiting. I think I had 2 gig of RAM at the start, a really bad graphics card, don't remember what it was, and a dual core CPU, I think. But nonetheless, I thought, why not actually build something up today that is using components from the time, but more of the higher end stuff that I definitely couldn't have afforded at the time. So we're going to build a Windows Vista era PC. We're going to install Windows Vista on it, and we're going to do a bit of benchmarking. We're going to try some gaming. We're going to see what it's like to use Windows Vista in 2025 and see if it really did actually deserve the kind of hate and legacy that it has of being a terrible, terrible operating system. I also wanted to actually use it as an excuse to try out this Workbench kind of case. I guess it's not really a case, but mount, if you like, for a computer. It fits a full ATX board, and I actually found this on Amazon for about £16, and it's made of metal and comes in a couple of parts that you screw together, and it actually seemed pretty good, so I wanted to try that out as well, and this seemed like a good excuse to do that. So I will leave a link down below to this, if this is a kind of Workbench sort of thing that you might need. It will be an affiliate link. So yeah, we'll check that out as well. All right, let's have a look at the components that we're going to be using. So first off, of course, the most important component to this build is the CPU. And here we have an Intel i7-960. So quite high end for the time, definitely way beyond what I had on my build at the time. So really happy with this. There's a quad core CPU, which I think is going to make things much nicer, especially for Vista. And I do think that a lot of the hate that Vista got just was that its system requirements was so much higher. And a lot of computer manufacturers were putting Vista on computers that really didn't match up to the requirements of that system. So maybe with this higher end system, it won't actually be that bad. We'll see. Next up, we have a bunch of RAM. We actually have 6 sticks here, each 2 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM. This is a 3-channel memory CPU setup. So yes, we have 6 cards, each 2 gigabytes, total of 12 gigabytes, which is, I think, way more than RAM than we're going to need, but it's nice to max it out. It's certainly a lot more than I originally had. I'm pretty sure my system came with 2 gig, which I think probably was a big reason why Vista sucks so much. And next up, we have this Gigabyte motherboard, which is a GA-X58A-UD3R. Very catchy name, is down here. But it's a very full-featured ATX board. I actually really like this board, and it's kind of a real sign of the times. Like, this was really at the point where systems were moving into features that we would now consider kind of normal and new, but still having some legacy stuff going on. For example, we have a whole bunch of PCIe lanes here, PCIe slots, but we do still have a PCI slot as well, which is quite nice. We have an absolute load of SATA ports there. Some of them are SATA 3, some of them are SATA 2, so we are going to get better performance out of 3s. And then if you look on the I/O around the back, you've actually got some 2 USB 3 ports there, but then you also got FireWire and eSAT USB ports. So there's a real mix of old and new on one board. And like you say, we've got the triple channel memory here, and yeah, everything we could need. It is quite heavily populated. Definitely like this for the motherboard. Next up, in terms of graphics card, we have a GeForce GTX 260, which, if I remember correctly, I actually had a 250 that I purchased quite early on into having my PC and upgraded to that. So this is more powerful than that, obviously, and yeah, should be a good card for what I have planned anyway. So we'll check that out, and hopefully it is in a good working order. Everything is supposed to be in good working order, but I haven't tested any of it yet. So we're going to find out together. And then finally, in terms of old parts, I have this Nero, the Emperor of Cooling CPU cooler. Just I found this on eBay for a good price. Still in box, which is pretty cool. It is used, but it comes with the box and everything we need. It has the right mounts for the socket and everything else. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I like this. Way overkill. Although I say that, but that i7 is a pretty thirsty little CPU, so actually we may need something as powerful as this, even with that absolutely massive fan. But still, it was really cool to pick this up. I think it will fit the vibe nicely. And then in terms of storage, I did actually go for an SSD. This is a 480 gigabyte Crucial SSD, just a generic one. You've probably seen me use quite a lot of these in the past. They're cheap, they work, they're good. And it is brand new. Obviously, I could have gone for a spinning drive if I really wanted to be kind of area appropriate, but I don't hate myself. So I'm going to use an SSD just to give a bit more speed and reliability as well, to be honest. So yeah, we're going to be using this. And then the other thing that's new that I won't be using old stock is a new power supply as well. We have this Corsair 650 watt power supply. It doesn't have modular cables or anything. It's basic one, but yeah, again, I didn't really want to use an old power supply and potentially blow everything up. So this is one thing that I will always use new if possible. And yeah, that's what we'll be doing here. All right, well, let's get everything put together and see if it fires up for the first time. I feel like there'll probably be an issue. There's always an issue. But anyway, let's check it out. There is actually one other component I did forget, which is this just DVD read-write from 2014. So not quite age appropriate, but it's fine. Kind of generic write, super write master. Just because I have a Vista disk and want to be able to read it. There's not actually anywhere in this kind of case that this will fit. Potentially could mount it maybe on the side like that. But that's not really an issue because, to be honest, once we've installed Vista, I'm never going to need it again because physical media sucks. Anyway, let's get building. Got a monitor set up so we can test this. Not going to be the final setup, but just while we're checking to see if the hardware works, I figured this would be the easiest way to do this. And it boots. Here we go. Amazing. There we go. Yeah. I mean, it hasn't shown me the RAM or anything. I don't know what it's doing, but it's booting, so that's all I care about. Okay, well, let's try getting into the BIOS and seeing if everything is visible. Okay, so after bashing some buttons for a while, we made it into the BIOS. And this definitely seems like quite a feature-rich BIOS. This is definitely a higher-end motherboard for the time, that's for sure. But we can see, if we go into here, we can see that our i7 is being recognized. It's running at 3.2 gigahertz, which is great. Interestingly, all the DIMMs are installed, but only 2 are enabled, giving us 4 gig. I'm not sure if that's just like in this system, and that's the 32-bit setup, and we'll have full access once we install 64-bit Vista. Not sure. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on, and yeah, check it out. But we've got all that enabled, everything set up. Obviously, the graphics card is working. We have video out, so very happy there. So next step is to try and get Vista installed. So I'll pop my disk in and let's see what happens. And there we go, we are booted into the Windows Vista installer. It took a few reboots of the BIOS. I'm not sure what's going on there. Probably need to clear the BIOS. But anyway, we're in. So I'm going to get Windows Vista installed. Unless there's anything that happens during the process, I will see you on the other side. And we are all installed. Only thing I had to do was go back into the BIOS to enable the SATA 3 controller. It was disabled for some reason. Very odd. But other than that, we are up and running. Do need to install some drivers. Graphics card is obviously not recognized, but the CPU is recognized. Our full 12 gigabytes of RAM is recognized, which is great. So we are kind of ready to go. I do need to stress again that this is not an accurate representation of most people running Vista. The Windows Vista system requirements were very low. In fact, my XP gaming machine with a Pentium 4 and 2 gigabytes of RAM in it, that actually meets the system requirements, and you could install it on that. And that's a single core CPU compared to the quad core CPU that we have in here. So that's going to give you a little bit of an idea of just how wildly different the performance is for most people. And I think that's really where the issues with Vista came from, is that for most people, they had machines that were not up to running Vista in the slightest. Hopefully, this very high-end, very expensive at the time kind of setup will be able to run it. But first, let's get some drivers installed, and I'll see if I can get my screen capture working as well, so you don't have to look at this recording of a very terrible Dell monitor. Let's see what we can do. Okay, we are all set up. That took a little while. Definitely some issues. Driver installs was fine, but there was the issue where the system was only reporting 4 gigabytes of RAM, although Windows said that it had full 12 gigabytes installed. And I did a little bit of poking about online, had a little bit of look around, and a lot of things pointed to bent pins on the CPU, or rather the CPU socket. And sure enough, when I took the heatsink back off, removed the CPU and had a look, there was in fact a number of bent pins, so that's great. Thankfully, I was able to bend at least some of them back into place, and I managed to get to a place where it would report and accept 8 gigabytes dual channel. Now this is a triple channel CPU, so it should really have another channel, but I think the pins are still a little bit bent. It's still not behaving itself. So nonetheless, I removed the 2 RAM sticks that I had in the 3rd channel, and it's now working fine. It's reporting 8 gigabytes. Task Manager is also reporting 8 gigabytes available. So I'm happy with that. 8 is still way more than enough in this circumstance, so I'm okay there. And thanks to kind of getting the graphics card working, we've maxed out the Windows Experience Index, which is basically a thing that was launched with Vista to try and help you understand what components of your computer needed upgrading. So we've maxed everything out, and that's working just fine. And things like the nice transparent Aero effects are working as well. So that's all that set up, and yeah, other than those bent pins, it was actually pretty smooth sailing, I have to say. So next thing, of course, we need to do is a little bit of gaming. Unfortunately, my screen capturing is still not working, so we're just going to have to go the old-fashioned way. which does also mean there's no audio, but we can just check that the graphics card's working really well. GPU Z is reporting everything that I would expect. So yeah, we have our GTX 260, and yeah, all the normal things. We have 896 megabytes of GDDR3 RAM or graphics memory available. So yeah, all good there. Let's just fire up some games and see how it goes. So of course, for some reason, Fraps isn't working at all. It was earlier, it's not now, but this is really smooth. This is at high settings at 1440 by 900, I believe. And yeah, it's working really, really well. I'm just going to play through a bit so we get to somewhere that's a bit light, because this doesn't really give any good indication. Bear with me. Definitely a bit lighter here, and yeah, it is playing really nicely. It is at about 40 FPS. So not perfect, but it is playing really nicely. And I'm probably going to get myself killed here because I can't remember how to, there we go, how to do that. Boop. Stealth mode activated. But yeah, can it run Crysis? The answer is very much yes. A resounding yes, and it plays it very, very nicely as well. So yeah, wouldn't expect anything else really, to be fair. This is quite a high-end hardware at the time, and at this point, Crysis was a 2-year-old game. It was still definitely making systems sweat. There's no way about it. There's a reason why it was a meme, but yeah, this is definitely completely playable. On to the next thing. One thing about 2009, oh look, Fraps is back, excellent. One thing about 2009 was that it was a really great year for PC gaming. There was a lot of really great titles come out. So naturally, I wanted to play a few and just test them out on this hardware. Next up, we have Modern Warfare 2. Now, I absolutely loved this game. I played it to death at the time. Definitely love the multiplayer. The system isn't connected to the internet. We're not even going to try the multiplayer, but definitely can get into the single player a little bit. So as you can see, this is playing beautifully. This is at maxed out settings, same resolution, and it is basically locked at 60 FPS. So that is very, very cool. We're in training thing at the moment. I might have to play through this game again. The single player is very good. I think it is anyway. And yeah, graphically, I think this game still holds up, to be honest. I think the shadows, the textures, everything is actually pretty nice here. It's a really good game. Well worth a playthrough if you never done it. Another game that came out this year, which I think, again, just, it was so amazing, and that was Mirror's Edge. This game really kind of was obviously taking on the whole parkour being cool at the time. It was exploded as like a sport, if you like, and this really took that kind of free running parkour thing to its extreme as a game, and I think it works very, very well, and it still today holds up as well. I think this was really a great era where graphics fidelity just took a massive leap. If you look at games maybe 3 years before this and then compare it to these sorts of games, it's like a completely different world. So yeah, this is definitely another game that I fully recommend. If you've never played Mirror's Edge, you definitely should. And yeah, it holds up. It's a great free running game. The kind of way that you move, the way that you interact with the world, the physics, it's great. Love it. Absolutely love it. And again, playing at a really smooth, locked 60 frames per second. Very happy with the performance here. So there we have it. It might have taken a little while to get everything set up, but I now have a really great 2009 era, Windows Vista era test bench for a project that I'll be doing hopefully very, very soon. I hope you've enjoyed kind of the video putting this together. And I will say, one of the reasons why I think Vista did get such a bad rep really was that they were trying to get Vista rammed into devices that really were not up to running it. Here at the high end, it's smooth. It's not really got any problems. Everything that I've had to do has worked perfectly. I've not had any issues really at all. But that's because it really is top of the range hardware. This hardware would have cost well in excess of about £4,000, especially if you were buying a pre-built from someone like Dell. Yeah, this was going to be a very expensive machine. So for most people who were buying normal machines, particularly like myself when I did with the Inspiron, yeah, it was a way worse experience. And actually, technically looking at the specs for Vista, the requirements, my Pentium 4 XP machine meets those specs. Now, I don't know about you, but I do not want to run Windows Vista on a Pentium 4 single core CPU, but I will if you want me to. So do comment down below if that's a video that you'd be interested in. We can look at the two extremes there. And I think that really was the thing, is so many laptops and budget devices were being rammed with Vista when realistically they still should have been running XP, and Vista was not optimized for low-end hardware. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've certainly enjoyed putting it together. I'm really looking forward to what I can do with this test bench. And I've already had another idea for a video using it as well. So watch out for that, and I'll see you again very, very soon for another video. Bye for now.